You're tuned into the VSX Digital Sports Network. You're listening to the boss of the big ball, JB the Ticket. Vegas Scoreboard Express. Giving you that grease.
College football Saturday. We're back at you live. JB the Ticket and Vegas Scoreboard Express. Waking you up early this morning here in Las Vegas, 107.1 FM, KSHP, AM 1400, VSX Digital Sports Network. And I got my cohorts on the line with me this morning to give you some more college football wins. Darrell Harris, CBS 8, KLAS here in Las Vegas. Back on the line with me, producer and host of the DHoop University podcast. Good morning to you, Darrell. How are you?
Doing good, JB. Letting the dog out right now, but I think that was some new music I heard.
There you go. That's right. Giving you guys some new grease, new football. It's college football season, and I brought him back this season. My main man, Ronny B. Las Vegas, the king of the Marriott over at the Rampart Casino. Good morning to you, Ronny B. How you doing?
I'm good, JB. Good morning to everybody out there. Let's win some money.
That's what I'm talking about. Putting cash in your pocket is what we're doing. Last night in college football, we gave you BYU. That was a dog that was barking on the road at SMU, and it cashed for you. So we're going to be talking about that, and also going to be talking about last night's NFL action. The season is underway. Week 1, going to have a few touches on that, but mainly today, college football is in effect. Top 25. Dogs that are cashing, we're going to tell you where to get that money at, so you keep it locked here with me, JB the Ticket, Vegas Scoreboard Express. Let's get the money.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball, JB the Ticket, Vegas Scoreboard Express. Giving you that grease. Skip your cable bill this month and join the action with JB and Fubo TV. Get 7 days free, 15% off your first month. No credit check, no deposit, no installation hassle. Go to FuboTV.com/JB. Sign up, download the app, and start watching games.
Enjoy being a subscriber after the first month. Easy cancellation anytime. Regional restrictions apply. Sign up at VegasScoreboardExpress.com.
More fire, more heat. You're listening to the boss of the big ball, JB the Ticket. Giving you that grease. Vegas Scoreboard Express. Always spitting that explosive fire.
Back at you live here, KSHP 107.1 FM, AM 1400 is college football. You heard the grease dropping. That's because we're bringing you cash in your pocket, Vegas Scoreboard Express. I'm your host and boss of the big board, JB the Ticket here, giving you where you want to be this Saturday morning. Back on the line with me again, of course, Darrell Harris, KLAS, CBS 8 here in Las Vegas, and my main man, Ronny B., the king of the Rampart Casino over at the Marriott here in Summerlin. So let's talk about it, guys. College football, we're jumping into week 2. It's been an eventful couple of weeks getting lined up for this season. The dogs have been barking last night. Again, I gave you guys out on my Friday special show. BYU, take them in the points if you're scared, but if you weren't, you took a money line and you got that cash lined up for you. Shout out to my main man, Naeem the Dream, Philadelphia's finest, listening here in Las Vegas. Just gave me a quick text. So today's action, guys, being brought to you by our friends over at Fubo TV. Again, go to FuboTV.com. Get your television set up the right way this college football season. Don't get cabled. Get Fubo TV. No credit check, no deposit, nothing like that. Just a straight grease. So let's go ahead and jump into the very first college game today lined up for you. We have got an extra special game, early game. This is a game that everyone is talking about, so I figured we might as well talk about it as well. Rotation number 3 and 19, the Texas Longhorns last weekend. We finally got to see Arch Manning in the blowout get his first college touchdown thrown, and then they're going up against Michigan, the former college national champion last year.
Pick it up, Poppy.
Rotation number 3-2-0. Shout out to Baby Bash sitting over there with Darrell Harris, which I'll go ahead and go to you first here. Michigan plus a 6.5 dog at home. You've got a national champion as a dog plus 203. Totals 41.5 here. Texas minus 240. Kind of expensive if you want to take them money line minus 6.5. The number earlier in the week was plus 3.5. A lot of money's been coming in on Texas. I'll start off with you, Darrell Harris. When you look at where the Texas Longhorns are, why do you think they're almost a touchdown favorite going in to the big house? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Texas is rolling. I think Texas is ready to try to get over the hump that they got stopped at last season. And, that's in the college football playoff. I think they're on a mission this regular season. The skill position players are, they had a great week one. And I think they're ready to build off of that. Whereas Michigan, we saw them struggle in week one. They've got a lot of change over there. Change of the head coach, change of the quarterback. Some upperclassmen are gone on the line. Yeah. And they've got to find themselves a bit more, whereas this Texas team is rolling. I think that can translate to a touchdown margin of victory. I don't think that their offense is going to keep up with Texas's, even on the road and going against a stout defense.
There you go. Going over to you, Ronnie B. again. You were the king over at the Rampart Casino. A lot of folks have been laying heavy money on Texas. Michigan, though, still has the pedigree, still did well in recruiting. They're playing hard for their first-year head coach, but we did see some issues last week with the dog in Fresno State. We thought it was going to be a blowout. It wasn't. And Fresno State hung around long enough to try to pick up that backdoor cover for you. So when you look at where Michigan is at today, playing a strong Big 12 team in Texas, do you think that they're a good dog to put some cash on today at 6.5? Is that a good number for them? And do you think they can get inside of that spread? Go ahead, Ronnie B.
Well, I'll tell you what, JB, last week we did take the Fresno State plus the 21, and we got there with it. This week, Coach Moore's got his hands full in the big house today. They're on a nice streak at home. I think they got like 24-0 going. But now they have 10 new starters on offense for Michigan, so they're going to have their hands full. Texas coming in with Quinn Ewers, who wants to be the Heisman winner this year. So the line went up from 6.5 to 7, 7.5, and now I think it's back down to 6.5 today. I think you're going to have a competitive game on defense for Michigan, but I think Texas's class with the offense is going to prove it at least a 10 to 12-point win today.
There you go. Talking about that total, throwing it over to you, Darrell. You're pretty good with the numbers here. 41.5. Do you think that Michigan can give us 3 touchdowns? And we know Texas has that high-powered offense. Do you think that they're going to be able to get up that number as well? Should we take the over in this game? Or are we looking at a defensive stout matchup with Michigan, who's going to try to get as many touchdowns as they can, but hold Texas out of the red zone? Go ahead, Darrell.
Well, the sports books are a little accurate. 41 is suggesting what, a 27-14, 28-14. I don't know. I think it goes over because I think that Texas can get a couple of touchdowns in both halves. If Michigan has to play catch-up ball, then they're not running away from scoring points. I don't think that they're going to lock this Texas offense down to 2 or 3 touchdowns only. So, even if it's 20-20s and somebody's winning a field goal at the end, it's going to hit that over. I think that's a number that, despite the great defense that Michigan traditionally has, I'd like to say that's a fairly easy over, but we'll see.
There you go. Ronnie B., your thoughts on that, and then we'll move along. Go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to disagree with Dell here. The line opened up at 45. I think you're telling me it's down to 41.5, JB?
Yes.
The trend is going to the under, and I'm going to predict about a 24-12 score here. Michigan last week did absolutely nothing on offense, 270 yards against Fresno State. So I really don't think they're going to be able to move the ball. and I think they'll get a couple field goals and maybe a backdoor something on defense. But I 24-12, 36 points is what I'm looking at.
There you go. Ronnie B is telling you that he likes that under, thinks it's going to cash for you. A little bit of a different consensus here. I'm actually going to go with the home dog. I think that Michigan, if they can play defense and keep Texas out of the red zone, that plus 6.5, if you can buy it up at your sports book, buy it up to that full touchdown, maybe give yourself a touchdown and a hook. But I don't think that the big house wants to see a home loss today with over 85,000 in attendance. Let's move along to another big dog, my big dog of the day, being brought to you by our friends over at Flaviar Whiskey Club. Elevate your glass at Flaviar Whiskey Club. Go to jbtheticket.com. Scroll down on the bottom of the homepage, click that link, and get elevated, okay? Over 21 only, and if you have a drinking problem, again, scroll to the very bottom of the website and click the link to help you there. But talking about my big dog today, rotation number 349, the Marshall Thundering Herd, plus 21, plus 900. Over a 53.5, under 53.5 is the number, going up against a Virginia Tech team that I have no faith in. Okay, Virginia Tech, I have no faith in. Darrell, just wanted to throw this one over at you to get started here. It seems like you got Baby Bash over there chomping at the bit. He's got his penny rolls out, his quarter rolls out, trying to make sure that he gets his bets in. Marshall today, that's my big dog, plus 21, going up against a Virginia Tech team that has shown me nothing on offense. Last week, Virginia Tech got absolutely obliterated. You know, and you look at where they're at right now, you don't see a lot of points being scored. I don't think Virginia Tech is going to get out early. Marshall had a nice tune-up game last week, plus 21. I think that dog is barking in the point section. If you're not scared, money line. But when you talk about this Virginia Tech team, no defense. Offense is pretty stagnant, man. I mean, you know, minus 21. What are the sports books trying to do here? Just trying to lure you in for one of those alumni bets? Go ahead, Darrell Harris.
Possibly so. I mean, what game was it last week that was this? But I think you might be onto something with Marshall because they've got another big test next week in Ohio State.
Right.
So today's definitely, they might not be paying attention to us, but we're trying to take care of business.
There you go, trying to put cash in your pocket.
Blown out. That's at least being competitive. So that 21 is enticing.
I'm telling you, when you go to this team here, and you take a look at the Virginia Tech Hokies, let's take a look at their schedule, pulling it up right now. They lost to Vanderbilt last week in overtime, August 31st, 34-27, and then you go over to the Marshall Thundering Herd. Let me take a look at their schedule while I'm pulling it up. They did markedly better. Let me pull it up here. 45-3 over Stony Brook. So when you're supposed to beat a team the way you're supposed to beat a team, Marshall was able to do that. Marshall put up 45. You got a Virginia Tech team, can't even get 30 points up on the board. I'm telling you, Ronnie B, I'm talking about a dog that's barking here in the Marshall Thundering Herd. Go ahead.
Well, you know, I agree with you. What happened last week with Virginia Tech at Vanderbilt, they came out a little soft, maybe overconfident, but I think right now that's going to happen today. The line came back out at 21 points. JB, I don't think the bookmakers are giving you any grief there. I really don't. I think Virginia Tech might cover this game.
I don't see that happening here. Let's just take a look at some of the offensive prowess here. One of the things that I like about the quarterbacks from Marshall, they don't throw picks. They're not a pick monster. Okay, you got Braxton and Earl back there sharing. You got Pennington. I think he's the younger son of Chad Pennington from back in the day, played for the Jets. So they run that triple wishbone option. They've got some throwing capabilities. Braxton seems to be leading there, 7 of 11 last week for 141 yards, 2 touchdowns. Then you look over at Drones, big time through the air, 22 of 33, 322 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he got that pick right there. He's got a pick. So when you talk about it from that perspective, going back over to you, Darrell Harris, let's take a look at the total here of 53.5. Are we looking for a big scoring game? And then we'll take this short commercial break. Go ahead.
Look at the game last week. Virginia Tech got ran all over by Vanderbilt, and the quarterback was really a dual threat. So if Marshall can replicate any of that, their defense isn't showing me that they're going to out of the end zone.
Right.
And they themselves will have to score. 53.5 is definitely possible.
Yeah, it's
Once
definitely.
you get to 30, you're looking really good.
There you go. We'll take a short commercial break. Darrell, let you get your phone line together. Ronnie B We'll let you hang on the line with us here. Vegas Scoreboard Express taking a short commercial break, folks. Keep it locked. I like that. Marshall, Thundering Herd, my dog of the day, plus 21. Go ahead and lock it in. Let's get the money.
You're listening to the boss of the big board, JB the Tech Act, giving you that grease.
Get ready to showcase your brand to the exploding sports betting and fantasy sports audience to elevate your business this season. Advertise on the VSX Digital Sports Network, broadcasting locally on KSHP and nationwide on iHeartRadio. Experience the power of digital and broadcast radio with great value, fast results, and no hassle. Reach a dedicated audience and watch your brand soar this season. Discover why VSX flagship show, Vegas Scoreboard Express Live, is rated #1 on GoodPod, 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, and top 5 on FeedSpot for best radio podcasts in Las Vegas. Get your brand in front of an engaged and loyal audience who are looking for the best sports advice and great offers. Advertise with VSX Digital Sports Network. Your success is our commitment. Visit VSXDigitalSportsNetwork.com or call 702-909-0585. Take your business to new heights this season. Don't miss out on this opportunity to connect your brand with sports enthusiasts across the nation with VSX Digital Sports Network. All money, all sports, no bull. Visit VSXDigitalSportsNetwork.com or call 702-909-0585. Log on or call today.
You're tuned into the VSX Digital Sports Network.
If you need help, hang up and then dial the operator.
You're listening to the boss of the big board,
If you have money, you can buy anything.
JB the Tech Act.
More fire, more heat.
Vegas Scoreboard Express, giving you that grease.
That's right, I'm back at you live. Vegas Scoreboard Express, JB the Ticket. Follow me on Instagram at JB the Ticket. Go to my website, jbtheticket.com. Dropping some heavy grease for you right now. These beats telling you where the cash is at, my main man. Darrell Harris from KLAS 8, CBS 8 here, host of the DHoopster podcast, and Ronny B from the Rampart Casino over in Summerlin. So, guys, we're getting into it again back at this college football. Gave you my dog of the day, the Marshall Thundering Herd, rotation number 349. Hope that can cash for you. Pretty sure that it will. Let's jump into another game that I had here on my list. Let me pull that back up because we were talking about this in the pregame, Darrell, and I was just looking at it, and I said to myself, should I bet this game? Should I look at this game? And I said, you know what? Let's see if we can figure it out. Talking about Baylor versus Utah. Rotation number 329, the Baylor Bears. You're an alumnus over at Baylor, Darrell Harris. So I wanted to give you a little bit of grease here. You guys are some huge dogs, plus 15.5, going up against a very strong Utah team. That's a team that's been balling. Dangerous, okay? One of the more dangerous teams that no one is talking about out of the former Pac-12, and you look at where they are ranked at number 11 nationally in the top 25. So again, going back to you, Darrell Harris, do you think that Baylor has a chance today? Because these guys have been playing some pretty decent football themselves, but they're coming in this one unranked, and they're looking like a huge dog at plus 15.5. Go ahead, Darrell Harris.
Yep. Pick them Bears first and foremost. This is definitely a matchup that we don't have too much to work with. Both of these teams had warm-up games in week 1. Utah taking care of Southern Utah, Baylor taking care of Tarleton State. So not too much we can pull from that. They both took care of business as well. Utah's first season over in the new conference, they feel like big dogs, being that they've had some postseason success in recent years. I'm looking at Baylor as a feisty underdog in this game, and that's because they have to be. If they want this season to have any upwards potential. They've got to at least be competitive in this game. I don't know if that full upset underdog win is within range, but I think that 2 touchdowns is enough for them to hang in. I actually like them on the road to play a bit more free than they would at home as well. So
there you go.
At them, eyeing the new team in the conference and saying, hey, this isn't a cakewalk.
Darrell, are you on speakerphone?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, you got to turn that off. Man, I thought you was in a closet getting beat up by gremlins again. Going over to you, Ronny B. Baylor in Utah. You talk about those Utah Utes here. 6 in the Big 12, number 11 in the entire nation. Do you think there's an opportunity for Utah to come out and cover that big spread today? Total is 54, so if they do cover it, it looks like an over to win by 15. I don't think Baylor's going to come into Utah and get blown out, but go ahead. Rice-Eccles is a tough place to play.
I agree with you there, but I like Utah a lot here in this game. That Cameron Rising, he's an up-and-coming star coming off injury. Last week he played only a half of the game because it was a tune-up game. But he threw 5 touchdown passes. He was 10 for 15, and 5 of them were touchdowns, no interceptions, 254 yards in the first half.
That's what I'm talking about.
I really think Utah is a good bet here for people today. Lay the points and see what happens, but Utah at home is a tough place to play.
There you go. He likes Utah. Ronny B's telling you your cash with the 15.5 minus on that. Again, the very expensive price. I'm liking Baylor here as another one of the road dogs. I just feel that, again, with tune-up games, Rice-Eccles is a tough place to play, but Baylor now in conference with Utah. This is an early season conference game. Always look for those dogs to perform. Let's move to another conference game. Kind of interesting here. Number 331, that's the rotation number, South Carolina, +9, dog. A lot of road dogs today. +278 on the money line. Total on this one, though, which is what makes it interesting, 41.5 going up against those resurgent Kentucky Wildcats. This is a team that has improved considerably over the last couple of seasons, and a lot of players have been making money at the sports book with the Kentucky Wildcats, but we got the Gamecocks on the road today going out to Lexington. Throwing this one back over to you, Ronny B. Are the Kentucky Wildcats for real? Is this a football team that you can continue to believe in? Because when I look at the top 25, don't see them in the top 25, but they have been a very strong team. And again, these 2 unranked teams in the SEC are coming in with pretty decent records. What say ye? Go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know too much about either team right now because it's early in the season, but what I looked at with Kentucky, I believe they are going to be a growing team, and I think they're going to do some well today, point-wise. And I also think Southern Carolina is going to put up some points with them. So the over is attractive to me on this game if you had to play it. So early in the season, be careful, but the total over, I like it.
There you go. Ronny B likes the over. Quick thoughts from you, Darrell Harris, on the South Carolina-Kentucky game. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kentucky's been an interesting program for a few years now. They were past a couple years back with Will Levis.
Right.
Last year we saw Ray Davis was a bulldozer for him, and he ran all over teams. I expect him to do the same in Buffalo. I'll look out for him this year.
There you go.
And they've got to find a new identity this year as well. They're favored by, I think, a little too much to know how proven this team is. This feels like it could be a one-possession game. I think they're evenly matched, and I would, if we're forced to take something in this one, lean towards South Carolina with that 10-point cushion.
He likes South Carolina at the +9. I'm liking Ronny B's thoughts here. The over 41 at play. Come on, teams, you got to get me at least 20 points for each side of it. Let's take a look at another one on the lineup today. Very, very interesting football game. A lot of people have been talking about it. Another matchup in the Big 12, Iowa State, rotation number 3 of 41. The Iowa State Cyclones are on the road today, going down to Iowa. A lot of people have been talking about Iowa's very improved offense, rotation number 342. The Iowa Hawkeyes, -2.5. Another one of these close type of in-state rivalry games. Very low total here at a 36. You heard it right. 36 is the total. Throwing this one over to you, Ronny B. With the price that low, can you bet this game over, or are we looking at a game with 2 teams that just can't score? How would you make some money here? Quick over, or do you buy it down a little bit, try to get that over, buy it up a little bit, try to get the under? But the book is telling me that neither one of these teams can score. Go ahead.
Well, I kind of agree with the book a little bit, but I'm going to look at what happened last night with Duke Northwestern, where everybody was pounding the under, and they got over 40-some points. Iowa's offense, I think, has improved over the past season here and spring breaks, and I'm going to go with the over here with this game. It's down to 35.5, but I'm going to roll the dice and go over. I think Iowa's going to put up some points that the public's not used to seeing.
There you go. Iowa ranked number 21 right now in the AP Top 25 poll. Big Ten. I'm going to move along to another game. Kind of threw me off here, but I agree. I think this game is going to go over. If Iowa is a top 25 team, my opinion is very simple. Give me 3 touchdowns. Iowa State, give me 3, 4, 5, maybe field goals and a touchdown, and we take that short over. Let's take a quick commercial break, see if we can get my main man Darrell Harris back on the line. Ronnie B, you keep it locked here with me. Any quick shout-outs before we take this break? Go ahead.
Now let's go to the Marriott today, everybody, and win some money.
There you go. That's it. Get to the money. We'll be back after this break. Keep it locked. VSX. That's what we do.
You're listening to the football. Vegas Scoreboard Express. Giving you that grace.
Step into a world of refined taste with Flaviar Whiskey. As a member of this exclusive whiskey club, you'll immerse yourself in a journey where every sip unveils layers of luxurious flavor and unmatched elegance. Discover the art of whiskey, crafted for those who appreciate the finer things. Join Flaviar and elevate your evening with the smooth, sophisticated spirit that defines exceptional taste. Membership opens the door to a world of rare and exquisite whiskey, curated just for you. Pour yourself a glass and let the blues carry you away. Flaviar Whiskey. Experience the exceptional. Join now.
Join Flaviar Whiskey Club exclusively at jbtheticket.com.
Get ready to showcase your brand to the exploding sports betting and fantasy sports audience to elevate your business this season. Advertise on the VSX Digital Sports Network, broadcasting locally on KSHP and nationwide on iHeartRadio. Experience the power of digital and broadcast radio with great value, fast results, and no hassle. Reach a dedicated audience and watch your brand soar this season. Discover why VSX flagship show, Vegas Scoreboard Express Live, is rated #1 on Goodpod, 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, and top 5 on FeedSpot for best radio podcast in Las Vegas. Get your brand in front of an engaged and loyal audience who are looking for the best sports advice and great offers. Advertise with VSX Digital Sports Network. Your success is our commitment. Visit VSXDigitalSportsNetwork.com or call 702-909-0585. Take your business to new heights this season. Don't miss out on this opportunity to connect your brand with sports enthusiasts across the nation with VSX Digital Sports Network. All money, all sports, no bull. Visit VSXDigitalSportsNetwork.com or call 702-909-0585. Log on or call today.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball. JB the Ticket. Vegas Scoreboard Express. Giving you that green.
Back at you live, JB the Ticket, Vegas Scoreboard Express. Just like you heard on the intro, giving you the grease today. College dogs are barking. Got the continuation of week 1. Getting ready to get lined up. Darrell Harris, are you back on the line with me? Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
There you go. So glad to have you back here, man. Having a little bit of phone issues here. Got you out in the middle of nowhere, but you're still locked in here with us, just like I hope all of you listeners out in Las Vegas and around the world are. iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Spotify, you name it, I am there. Get the replays of the show on Apple Podcast as well. Let's talk about some more dogs, man. While we were at commercial break, I'm looking through the sports book and I'm finding some opportunity. Rotation number 3 of 51. The Central Michigan Chippewas are going down to Miami to take on Pitbull at Pitbull Stadium in the Florida International. Panthers. That's right. World-renowned rapper and entertainer Pitbull has bought the naming rights for the Florida International Stadium, and they've even got it in the end zone. Dale! That's right. Todo mi gentes, Latinos across the world, especially down in Miami, going to be packing that game out big time for the culture. plus 4.5, Florida Atlantic. You know that's kind of dead money from the math perspective, but they are a home dog, plus a 170. Throwing this one over to you, Darrell Harris. Do you think Florida International can open up Pitbull Stadium with the win? Go ahead.
It would be nice, but I don't know if that's in the cards for him today.
Wow, you're talking about a Florida International team that did get inside of a spread. I'm looking at their point totals here, and I'm saying to myself, if they lose this game, okay, they're 1-0. They beat who did they beat? No, they ended up losing last week. They're 0-1. They scored a touchdown, okay? They scored a touchdown. They played in Indiana. That's who they played, Indiana. Ronny B's over there like, JB, how'd you forget that? But they lost 7-31. I think they were just outclassed. But Central Michigan, coming into this game last week, they played, I think, New Hampshire, blew out New Hampshire. But this is a different type of animal. Again, you look at Florida International, they did get inside of that spread, plus 5. It's a tighter spread today. Central Michigan, that's what I'm talking about here. They're playing one of those teams that are at their level. Going over to you, Ronny B. You think Florida International can pull out a short win today? Go ahead.
I really don't think so there, JB. Central Michigan is playing some good ball out of the gate. And Florida International played my alma mater Hoosiers last week and only can rush the ball for 53 yards. So I don't know what's going on at Florida International, but if you had to play this game, Central Michigan only giving up 4.5 is not a lot of points.
There you go. He's saying lay the points with Central Michigan. I'm not even going to do anything on this. I just thought it was interesting. You know, Florida International, Pitbull Stadium. Got Dolly in the end zone. Hopefully they can go to the end zone. Moving right along, let's talk about a team that actually fared a little bit better. 2 dogs that won, and this is a dog that I like. Big spread here. Sam Houston State going up against Central Florida. Let's keep it down south. Rotation number 357. Sam Houston State markedly better on the offensive side than the last team we mentioned in FIU here. But you talk about a plus 21 spread, plus 875, huge road dog again in college football. Should be a tune-up game, but you look at Central Florida here coming in at rotation number 358, minus 21, minus 1450, very expensive. Interesting on the total here, 54.5. Starting off with you again, Ronny B. I'll throw this one at you. Do you think Sam Houston State is a little bit better bet in this particular matchup? And in my opinion, they are. If you take a look at what they did last week versus a Division I real opponent, Rice, they were able to pull it out 34-14. So they're 1-0. They got the spread. They didn't get the total, but they were able to put up 34 points. And then when you go over to Central Florida, they played a powder puff last week again in New Hampshire, 57-3. That's not really a big test. Okay, minus 38 was the total. The total was like 59. It did go over just off of their offense, but they were playing a powder puff. I think they got a tougher matchup today in Sam Houston. Ronny B., your thoughts. Go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you what, JB, it's funny you picked this game. I put some money on this game already. I took UCF. I like them. I got a prediction of about 38-13, so I think they're going to cover that 20 points, 21 points. And like I said, I backed it up with some grease myself. So I like Central Florida.
He likes Central Florida. Going over to you, Darrell Harris. You think Sam Houston State can get inside of that spread? A team that scored 31 against a real Division I opponent last week, going up against an opponent that played a powder puff. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have as much conviction in the spread out of the way, but I would say that some points are going up this game. This is an over that I'm not afraid to take. And if, Sam Houston can at least get you close to 20, UCF could possibly handle the rest of the bulk of the scoring in order to get that over 54.5.
Not believing in the dog to get you inside of the spread. Talking about that total here. He wants you to go over 55. I think that they can. Again, if you like a total here in this game, 54.5 is a decent spread. If you can buy it down a little bit, buy it down to 50, I think that'll give you a little bit more of a cushion. But again, I'm going with the dog here. I think Sam Houston State can get inside of that spread. I mean, Central Florida, long gone are the days where they were running in the top 25. This is a mediocre team that played a powder puff last week, and they got a serious dog coming in trying to make some noise down in their conference here. Talking about Conference USA. Let's move along to another game. Again, full day of college football Saturday here on VSX on KSHP. 107.1 FM, AM 1400. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out to listen. Let's talk about one of the home state teams here. We got Nevada on the home turf today, -1 going up against the Georgia Southern team. Always a tough dog. No value here, but just to give a little bit of grease to Nevada, starting off the spread at the year 2-0 on the spread. You look at the spread for Georgia Southern. They got their first game out last week. Nevada, they played Troy, and then they ended up losing to SMU in that first week, but came back and played a very tough Troy team, which is from a similar ilk of their opponent today in Georgia Southern. How do you see this one playing out? Ronnie B, do you like the home state Nevada Wolfpack? Go ahead.
Wow, this game is -1, and we got two teams that are, trying to put their programs together and get people to come and watch them. But this game is something I don't think I could touch, JB.
There you go.
If you had to do anything, maybe the total. But both teams are lacking a lot of power.
Saying it's not even too interesting. Darrell Harris, your thoughts, or we can move along.
I think this one is a tad bit interesting, actually.
Oh, okay. There you go. Go ahead.
Well, Reno, they're 1-1 so far in the season. I think that they could actually pick up another conference win here. They haven't made any noise within the Mountain West the past few years, and I think the Georgia Southern team, so far, they've had a couple games already where they've gotten active offensively. And 1-point spreads are at home. Can we get one win to represent the Mountain West here and make you look good, Reno? I joke with Nate Burleson a lot. He's a love affair. Shout out to the Fremont Cannon.
There you go.
I think the Cannon's red right now, I think. But
it will stay red.
Man,
go ahead.
Nevada. Do something today. I think it's in the cards.
There you go. He's like in Nevada. Go ahead. -1. Buy him to +1. See if you can move that spread around. I'm taking a look at another team here. I'm talking about Stephen F. Austin. Huge dog again today on the line, going up against North Texas. This game, Stephen F. Austin, you look at it, the spread, if you got it at your book, Stephen F. Austin +23.5. How do you see this game matching up? You got a North Texas team coming in here, and they're looking at it, 52-38 versus South Alabama. They're beating their in-conference quality of play. Something's got to match up. Go ahead, Ronnie B.
Well, you pulled this one out of the hat here, JB, but I'll tell you what, I'm looking a little bit at this game, and it could be a high-scoring ball game.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, go ahead.
Stephen F. Austin scored 77 points last week. That's a lot of points, or a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If you're going to play this game, you got to look at the total, because North Texas put up a ton of points as well last week against South Alabama. It's an over if you're going to play it. It's an over.
Stephen F. Austin, I like their point total. When their last 3 games, like you said, 71 points. I'm taking this one. This is a dog that if it goes over, they can also get inside of that spread. Ronnie B is right. These guys score a lot of points. Darrell Harris, go ahead.
This is a real inner Texas matchup here. You got the Lumberjacks, the Mean Green up there in Denton. My guy Chuck went to UNT. They haven't been a walkover, so I would have to lean towards UNT. But when you're talking about a spread that's 24 points, I think that might be a little disrespectful to Stephen F. Austin, who, like we said, hung 70, so they can put some points up. They'd have to get really ran on in order to not cover that 24 today. But that might be a fun one. I'm going to put some eyes on that just for kicks and giggles.
There you go. I'm telling you, it is a dog that is barking. Those big spreads, you only get them early in the week. Let's go ahead and talk about another game that a lot of people have been having on their list. This is another one of my dogs of the day, giving you guys 2 dogs of the day. It's going to shock a lot of people, but I think this is a game that can be good. This is a team that plays very, very good football. Talking about those Appalachian State Mountaineers. They're going to play Clemson today. Appalachian State put a hurting on Eastern Tennessee last week, 38-10, and we all know what happens with Clemson.
Well, you see what happened? We went up to Georgia, and the devil was looking for a soul to steal, and it was iron. And then, see, we ain't got no soul. Yeah, that what happened. 34-3 is what happened to us.
Appalachian State, this dog is barking. Go ahead, Ronnie B.
JB, I got to disagree with you. I think Clemson got embarrassed last week. They're stepping down in class.
They got embarrassed because the personnel is not that good. Go ahead. But go ahead.
Well, we're gonna see what happens on the floor if Dabo can get them back motivated here today. But I think they can. You're talking about playing Georgia last week. You're coming way down in class today.
Plus 17. Look at that spread.
Yeah.
Minus 17 to beat an Appalachian State team that is known to have been a giant killer over the years. Come on.
They played East Tennessee State last week, JB. I don't give them any credit for that game at all. See what happens.
There you go.
I wouldn't play it. I wouldn't take the points. I would, if you're going to play it, I got to go with Clemson, the class of the team.
Hey, he said he's going with Clemson, the class of the team. Appalachian State, that Sun Belt is running heavy, picking up a lot of kids from the NIL, coming from these bigger conferences, coming from these bigger schools. Darrell Harris, we've been talking about that. And again, you talk about a smaller school putting up 34 points, 38 points or whatever. Clemson only gave 3 points. I don't care if it is Georgia. It's Clemson. Clemson has played Georgia and Alabama and all these teams in the national championship. They still have the same head coach. There's continuity. That personnel stinks. They're horrible. And you're talking about they're going to come back in the following week after not even being able to get in the red zone against an SEC opponent that they were very competitive against. 3 points, minus 17. I just don't see it. Appalachian State is my dog. But your thoughts, Darrell? Go ahead.
I'm backing you a bit. I think that App State, this is really a close one to watch. App State's along the lines of the James Madison, teams that have been impressive in games where they've been written off over the last couple of years. Like you said, those giant killers randomly taking out spreads that people thought were in the bag. If Clemson was anything remotely close to what they've been, this is a 20-plus point spread that they cover with ease. And I think that we have to recognize that isn't the case. I mean, traditionally speaking, yeah, but I think that this App State team isn't scared of them now. They have no reason to be.
They have no reason to be afraid of these guys. But keep going. You got some grease here. I'm pulling up a few stats.
I just see a game. I see a game that could play out to where it's a 10 to 14 point game. You'll be surprised. A turnover swings it tremendously, and you're in the fourth quarter, and App State's not out of range.
I just don't see anybody being afraid of Clemson. Clemson 0-1, losing to Georgia, still has a top 25 ranking. It's to keep interest. Fan, alumni, NIL deals. I'm telling you right now, they don't have any NIL deals. They don't have any NIL players. You look at the totals of just playing football. And in the NIL era, one good thing about the players that are still playing football is they're getting opportunities. Maybe you weren't good enough to go to Clemson per se, but you got some growth. Third, fourth-year player. Appalachian State is that type of university. They get in a lot of transfers. Talking about some of the stats from last week, their quarterback, Aguilar, 22 of 37. Talking about Appalachian State here, 326 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. And you talk about this Klubnik kid, man, where do we start? 18 of 29, 142 yards, a pick, and no touchdowns against the Georgia team. I mean, come on, he's been there for a while. He's a 62% completion type guy. I just don't see it. That plus 17 for Appalachian State is a dog that is barking. So, without further ado, let's get into the final game of the day, again being brought to you by our friends over at Fubo TV. This is a very interesting game that we've had circled for quite some time, guys, and we'll finish up the show with this one. Just to give you a quick shout-out, thank you again, Ronny B. King over at the Rampart. Got to drop some grease on that. Darrell Harris, producer news over at KLAS here in Las Vegas. Colorado Buffaloes are heading out to Nebraska. Last year they put in some work. Today, I mean, it's an interesting game. I'm not going to bet it. I don't know what Colorado is. That defense has still got a lot of holes in it. We know Shedeur is going to do his thing. We know that Travis Hunter is going to do his thing if he can stay healthy. But you're talking about a Nebraska team right now that's got a Matt Rule coach eye on Coach Sanders. We haven't heard any of the back and forth, none of the trash talking that we heard last year, none of the fanfare. Nebraska is favored. Look at what the books did to this game as far as taking away all the value as well, guys. Rotation number 381, the Colorado Buffaloes on the road today, plus 6.5. Even money. Are you kidding me? Even money. Nebraska, rotation number 382, minus 6, minus 120, minus 125 in the money line. Who's doing math over here, people? Who's doing the math? Suckers bets if I've ever seen them. Total 55.5. Colorado only plus 205 in the dog position on the road. But if you're telling me a touchdown is even money and it's not a pick 'em, this is a back alley bookie if I've ever seen one. Go ahead, Ronny B. Go ahead.
Well, like you said, this could be an entertaining game. It's hard to play it either way for me, but Colorado's got the two best ball players on the field, but I think Nebraska at home, and that program has been turned around. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people this year. If I had to, I'm leaning Nebraska laying the 7.
He's laying the 7 for Nebraska to get the -120. Darrell Harris will finish it out here with you. Colorado isn't worth any money to bet today. Plus 205. They got to win by 1, lose by none to get the money. The total, 55.5. We haven't seen explosive scoring from Colorado. The defense is porous. Nebraska, they gave up on the triple option. They're starting to do a little bit more drop back passing under Matt Rule. They've got a quarterback that was highly touted, and he's out there trying to put his name in the rotation for the Heisman Trophy along with Shedeur and a couple of other guys. It's an interesting matchup, but the value isn't there. How do we bet this? Do you like that total, or do you think that maybe Colorado can be one of those dogs? Not on my list today, guys. Not on my list as a dog, just keeping it real. But plus 205 or the spread, total 55.5. What say ye?
If you aren't a fan of taking touchdown underdog, I wouldn't shy away from the total in this game as well. I think that Colorado has shown us in the past 2 seasons that they are not a defensive-led team. So Nebraska can find success in this offense. We know all the eyes and cameras are going to be on this one as well. Colorado has shown us that when it comes to stuff, they can go get some points as well. That's their calling card. So if you want to stay away from picking a side, I would run away from the over in this game. You know, Colorado still has Travis Hunter and Jimmy Horn Jr. out there. Horn's he put a massive yard against North Dakota State. They didn't talk about that. But we know that Shedeur can use his legs when need be. I don't expect Colorado's defense to throw out some 14-point effort holding Nebraska down. I think that both teams are going to be in the high 20s. Somebody can get to 30 and probably get the win. And if that's the case, I look at that and over.
He's liking the over here. Some of you guys out there, big Coach Prime fans, are going to take him. I say take a money line, win by 1, lose by none. If you're going to bet Colorado. Nebraska, there's no value. Colorado, there's no value. That spread bet, man, don't even waste your money. But again, guys, thank you so much for stopping by today. My big dogs of the day, Appalachian State and Marshall Thundering Herd. Let's hope those dogs can bark and stay loud for us. Again, final shout-outs, and then we'll get out of here. Ronnie B, we'll start with you, and then round it out with Darrell Harris. Go ahead.
Well, we're going to give you a game real quick here. Take Maryland at 12:30 today. Maryland minus the points.
He likes Maryland minus the points. Darrell Harris, what say ye? Best play of the day, then we'll get out of here.
I just want to give a shout-out, more so, to our running Rebels. That Rebel football team went down there in Houston and got busy last week, like we talked about. So they've got a cupcake game today, 44 points. I'm not going to tell you to go take that. But they're awake. They're awake that this team is going to make some noise, looking at top 25 in a couple weeks.
There you go. Hopefully they can fill out the bottom here and take over for Clemson. Appalachian State, you got to get it. Marshall Thundering Herd, you got to get it. Big point totals and 2 teams from big conferences that can't score. That's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to Vegas Scoreboard Express. We'll be back tomorrow for the first week of the NFL. So you keep it locked here, 107.1 FM, AM 1400, VSX Digital Sports Networks. I'm your host and boss of the big board, JB the Ticket, signing off for your college football Saturday. You guys know what time it is. We can all say it together, but I'm going to say it loud enough for everybody. Get the money.
You're listening to the boss of the big JB the Ticket. Vegas Scoreboard.